Racing takes place out at Turffontein on Saturday, the 17th of February 2024. We've got 10 races lined up and we've got 10 races on the standside track. Race number 1 set to get underway at 12:05 over the 1160 meter trip. It is a double header racing out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, which will be brought to you on Gallop TV, and you can catch all 8 races live on Gallop TV. Joining me on the line for the Turffontein preview show is Alistair Cohen. And Alistair, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Raheel. On the back of Thursday's racing at Turffontein, which I thoroughly enjoyed. This is obviously a card that doesn't quite match the straightforward look that last week provided at Turffontein. I think this could be a little bit of racing's revenge. What I will say about both cards is that I think the bar pots and place accumulator at both venues are certainly worth a go, because I think there's good value to be had at both Hollywoodbets Kenilworth and at Turffontein. For those that want to try their luck, the pick six is obviously available as well. But hoping that we can catch something, because if we catch one of the exotics on the day, then there's no doubt we'll be in the payout queue, because I can see the dividends being on the very healthy side.
Well, that's what we like to hear after last week's Saturday's 131 Rand pick six payout. Race number 1, maiden juvenile plate. Favourite is Proceed at 3-10, 22-10 about Moonlight Trader, and then it's 14-1 and Better Bar those. Now, Proceed, he just found the unbeaten Pistol Pete too good, and he's found Tony Peters' runners too good for him in his first 2 starts. He ran third last time out. He's the horse to beat on the piece of form that he brings into the race.
Yeah, he'll be a hard horse to beat, Raheel. He's obviously very precocious. They had him down to run on World Sports City Cape Town Met Day, but obviously due to an outbreak of African horse sickness, he couldn't travel out of Randfontein. So I think that was a signal of intent. He tries the tongue tie for the first time, which hopefully will, if it brings him on at all, will just solidify his undeniable chance. Gavin Lorena's back on board. He steps up an extra 160 metres, which is the slightest and only concern because of his reported forwardness back home and everything else that goes with him. But I don't see Moonlight Trader's debut run as the same level as Proceed's 2 runs to date. So pity this is not part of the bar pot, which is my suggested bet. Otherwise, Proceed would be an absolute banker. But I think this is where you start your day. Proceed, a very, very hard horse to beat in the first.
All in with number 5 in race number 1. Moving along to race number 2, a maiden juvenile plate for the fillies, 1160 metres the distance, 12:40 is the off time. Across the pond, your favourite at 28-10 after a cracking run on debut at odds of 33-1. It's 3-1 about number 5. It's Her Way, who ran third last time out behind You Bring Me Joy, who subsequently franked her own form. Kindred Heart is at 3-1. After running third on debut. And then you've got Milo's Millionaire from the Sean Terry yard, and Gavin Lorena takes it right. So those are the 4 horses in single figures. Is it as straightforward as the betting suggests? 4 horses to fight it out, or do any of the other runners stand out to you?
I'm not looking past the top 4 in the betting here, Raheel, but I don't think it's as straightforward as finding a winner as, just isolating it to in that order, or in a specific order. So in no order of preference, I'll give my top choice at the end. I've gone 1, 5, 7 and 8 in my bar pot. Across the pond, you'd probably argue with a little bit more luck wins on debut. She was low flying, she was the eye catcher. The report was crop entangled at the 200 metres mark, drawn towards the outside on Turffontein standside track. There's no rain forecast between the time of recording and races tomorrow, but there was a little bit of rain on the half outs on Thursday night. So as we all know, high number draws, especially on or certainly with the sting out the ground, is beneficial, but I don't suppose it's going to be soft by any stretch. But all the same, you'd rather have a high number draw than a low number draw, so that favours number 1 Across the Pond. She's got to be in the mix. 5 at Her Way, as you say, ran behind You Bring Me Joy last time, who franked her own form. Did she beat much last week? I'm not convinced, but the point is she's doing everything right. As You Bring Me Joy, she's got something about her. The natural progression from here would be to try the 2-year-old feature races on the half out coming up, because there's obviously such a small cross-section of juveniles to choose from at this stage. If you like number 5, It's Her Way. Number 7, Kindred Heart comes into the picture, because Kindred Heart beat It's Her Way first time out. Been off for 67 days after her debut run. Don't know why, but obviously she's back and ready to go. And then number 8, Milo's Millionaire, Sean Terry, as we know, a genius trainer, gets his 2-year-olds to win. Gavin Lorena takes the ride. That's the eye-catching engagement, because Gavin just doesn't sit on any 2-year-old on race day. So I'd suspect that there's good feeling coming out of number 8, Milo's Millionaire. My top choice is number 1 from 7, and then 5 and 8 bracketed. I expect to double up in the bar pots in the first leg, but I've not taken any chances, because I think 2 of those 4 will run into the first 2, and it's just a matter of hoping that it lands on our side.
Follow the market with regards to number 8, Milo's Millionaire. Any market support would certainly spark a lot of interest. Race number 3 on the program. This is a maiden plate over 1,400 meters. The start of the place accumulator, 1:15, the off time. There's a Light, your 5-2 favorite. Donny is at 33-10. Montebello at 7-2. Alberic at 8-1. It's 8-1 remains of the day. Number 13, 20-1 into 8-1. Interest in for the Robin Clausen yard and Calvin Abib, that this runner has found a lot of betting support at the time of recording, and his 2 runs to date have been quite moderate. But Alistair, touching on the favourite, There's a Light, obviously behind the midwinter win last time out, and that form line is turning out to be very, very strong.
Well, Raheel, there are disclaimers about all the horses in the race. There are reasons why everything can't win, so something has to win. But I think the most solid option here is number 3, There's a Light, who had shown sweet little until, well, obviously the debut run to Duke of Rock was good, but then went missing for quite a while, and then suddenly came alive last time out when finishing second to Midwinter Wind, where, to be fair, by process of elimination, something was always going to run second. But as you say, all of a sudden, that form line's worked out to charm. Midwinter Wind, a subsequent winner, he's ahead of the handicapper. He's got more wins to come. The 3rd horse, Donna Mo, came out and won last week. And then the 5th horse, Gardia Regine, has also come out and won. So those are the 3 winners straight out of the Midwinter Wind form. So that just makes his claim so much stronger. And for that reason, number 3, There's a Light, is my top choice. If he didn't run like that last time, he probably would have got totally missing in action as far as reading this race is concerned. The backup comes from numbers 1 and 9, so Donny and Montebello. Interesting about Montebello, on a line of form, on an indirect line of form rather, Montebello is pretty much in a line with There's a Light out of using Gardia Regine as a line, so that's a little bit of food for thought. Maybe he's the value in the race, although I expect There's a Light to kick on with that last run under the belt. Montebello's last run was an absolute mess of a work, riders, and he had the run of the race from draw 1, and I don't think there were any excuses. And then number 1, Donny, who has his first run as a gelding and tries blinkers for the first time. If he was drawn better, I'd give him the vote of confidence as my leading choice, but there's just a lot of question marks about him. If it all clicks, he could be anything, because I thought his first run to William Ironarm covered him in glory, and that's clearly his career best. So coming out fresh with a whole lot of, it's a different Donny that we're going to see on Saturday. If all that works, he could be dangerous, and if it doesn't work, he could go unsighted. So 1, 3 and 9 for me. Very surprised about the market support number 13, Tron Batista, from that draw, having shown nothing and also being a bleeder as reported last time out. I don't see much else changing than well, actually nothing's changing out of his last run. Second run for the Clausen yard. If they found something, then maybe include him. If you hear that they found something, then maybe include him. But certainly on face value, it's hard to have him.
1, 3 and 9, the numbers in race number 3 on the program over 1,400 meters, the start of the PA. Moving along to race number 4 next, which will be the start of the pick 6. Maiden plate, fillies and mares, 1,400 meters the trip. Springer, even money favorite, after being very costly to follow last time out, and she obviously had that poor draw to deal with, 14 out of 14. 7-2 Lady Lennox, 4-1 about Zenobia's Gold. It's then 12-1 and better ball those. Now, when you take into account the field that you met last time out and the field that you meet on Saturday, there's not much difference, because both fields have been weak.
No, this is not a strong start to the pick 6, but what I will say is that I've got numbers 1 and 7, and they've got to hold true in the pick 6 as well, just because I don't find too much else to get into the hunt here. I'm more keen on number 7, Lady Lennox, Raheel. She was quoted to run just over a week ago, but she didn't make the trip. I called her first run to one fell swoop, and she caught my eye. Diego de Gavea takes her out for Alec Laird. They're striking at a good rate at the moment since they've teamed up at the start of the year. the obvious question mark is rested 205 days and having been carded to run around a week ago and not racing. She was stiff not to finish closer behind Elemental Force last time when there was a touch of support to her. And just by the simple strength of the race, if Alec Lev's got her 90%, 85-90% right, I reckon she'll be too good for number one Springer. But if Lady Lennox is in desperate need of the run, then by process of elimination, Springer is just the right one. There's just nothing else to go with in this opening leg of the pick six. So I've gone 1 and 7 in all my bets, but I am definitely leaning towards number 7, Lady Lennox.
2 horses to play around in race number 4 on the program. Race number 5, a graduation plate over 1400 meters, 25 past 2 is the off time. Favorite is Mia Moo at 28 to 10, 7 to 2 about Biofarmer, 4 to 1 Red Bomber, Turffontein at 9 to 2, and then it's 7 to 1 and Better Ball. There's been a bit of support for some of the longer shots in the race here, but number 7, Mia Moo, last time out in the Gauteng Fillies Guineas, running 7.5 lengths behind Give Me Another. She comes into this graduation plate as the clear best weighted horse in the race, a whole 16 points clear off the next best, which is number 1 Biofarmer, 54 kgs on the back. She ran a good race over the track and trip in a penultimate start, and she could certainly get the job done.
I think what you've got to consider here, Raheel, is that had she not run in the first leg of the Volkswagen Triple Tiara and came into this race without having that huge penalty, and obviously she ran to the 103, so that's the medicine you've got to take. Had she not run that, you would have looked at the best weighted column and she would have been absolutely nowhere near the playing field. So that is a little bit of a concern. That did she run above herself with better horses? Did they raise her game? That is obviously the big question. But with that said, I think that she's got a fair amount of ability, this daughter of Vercingetorix, and it looks like she's finally getting there. She's been sparingly raced, obviously, with her second run rather coming 6 months after her first run, and since then burning towards where they think she can get. Her run in the Mother Russia Stakes was excellent behind Let's Go Now. She actually ran to the same level of form, finishing a similar distance behind that also Let's Go Now in the first leg of the Volkswagen Triple Tiara. So there's a lot of reliability to the form, but is she a 103? That's the big. Is she a true 103? Because did Give Me Another and Silver Sanctuary, were they just miles ahead of the rest? Those are all the questions that you've got to ask. From that point of view, I've backed her up with numbers 1 and 2, probably against my better judgment. Red Bomber's been so costly for me. I'm not going to lose hope in him because I know Johan Janssen van Vuren thinks quite a lot of the son of Lancaster Bomber. Gavin Larena takes a ride. It's not Johan's style to run from this bad draw, but he's doing it anyway. He got away with it with Lincoln Navigator on Thursday. So just reading between the lines and after chatting to Johan on Thursday, I reckon that he thinks Red Bomber can win despite the draw. And then number 1, Biofarmer. I did not like him on the inside track. I do not like him on the inside track, despite some fair runs on the inside track. On a free-striding stand-side track, this horse is going to be more of a force.
This horse, number 6, Turffontein, you give him any chance. He's got a lot to find on ratings, but there's ability there, and with his last win, maybe his confidence could have been given a huge boost. Any chance for him?
Yep, spot on. I've always got the time of day for Turffontein. I think he's more of a place goer in this race because I think he's got a lot to prove. He's got issues galore that I do know, hence the fact he's 4 and only had 4 starts. But if they've got to the bottom of him and he doesn't have those issues and also the yards in form, then he could sneak a good race here. I've put it like this, I think he's above his rating, but if he's as good as Mia Moo's 103 and more specifically Biofarmer's 99 and Red Bomber's 98, he's got a lot to prove to show that he's at that level.
Perhaps he's a horse that we can keep an eye on in race number 5. That is number 6, Turffontein. Race number 6 on the program, a middle stakes over 1800 meters. 3 o'clock is the off time. And your favorite is Twatwa Cut at 4 to 1, along with number 9, Presley. 9 to 2 about Twin Turbo, 8 to 1. Willow's Wish, Eiffel Tower, Jet, Dynasty, You Can't Hurry Love, and then it's 10 to 1 in Better Ball. Those. Now, this horse, Presley, he's on the up. He's won his last 2. He won straight out the maidens. The horse that he beat last time out, La Muhal, has come through to frank that piece of form. He's gone up 5 points, 54 kgs on the back, and there's obviously a lot more to come from him.
There because let me just set up my stall in this race and say I spent a lot of time on this race, and it's not easy at all. There's a lot of chances here, a lot of dynamics at play. I think the biggest question mark is Dennis Schwarz choosing Yukon Hurry Love over Twin Turbo, because I think that must have been a very difficult decision, and I'm going to respect the fact that Dennis has gone with Yukon Hurry Love. Therefore, I've got him in my bar pot and not Twin Turbo, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable about that. You're right about number 9 Presley. He's bang there as well. He's so progressive. He's consistent. The win over Marauding Horde, weirdly, is a bit of a worry, because Marauding Horde fell across the line in a weak field last week, but he can only improve. It looks like he's just looking for a trip. And then obviously beating Lamu Hull was just a mile ahead of the opposition 10 days earlier. Ryan Munger takes a ride for Johan Janssen van Vuren. The fact that he's progressing, and he now goes over 1,800 metres for the first time, being out of a Silvano mare, that's got to be a big play in his favour, but still is not an absolute certainty. And then number 3, Eiffel Tower. There's a lot to like about this 3-year-old son of Patala Palace. He also tries 1,800 metres for the first time. The only time he went past a mile 1,700, he ran third to House of Romanov. He gets a tongue tie for the first time. He's got no issues of having any breathing deficiencies in the past, but another horse that's really consistent. And I'm trying to work out what the path is for Eiffel Tower, because I think the Classic just 2 weeks later might be coming a little bit too soon, but I think he's capable of at least competing in feature races. So it's like I said at the start, it's a race I'm pretty uncomfortable with. So 3, 6 and 9, but it's very hard to put a pen through any of these.
Race number 6, Trappy Contest, a race where you can certainly go with a field, and you could get a field result in race number 6. Race number 7, this is the Betway London New Stakes, a grade 3 over 1,800 meters. 15:40 is the off time, and it's a field reduced to 11 runners with a scratching off number 8 second base. Bless My Stars in new ownership colours. She's the favourite at 14-10. Safe Passage at 4-1. 8-1 Street Art. Emirate Gina. It's then 10-1 and Better Bar. Those now, Bless My Stars. She's returning off a rest. 84 days since her last start, which was in the Betway Summer Cup, when running a good third behind Royal Victory. Atandiwe Mkutwa back aboard after he ran third on her in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville July. And this filly, is she the anchor bet on the day?
Well, I've gone 2 horses, the 2 best horses in the race, Bless My Stars and Safe Passage, numbers 2 and 4. I'll get to Safe Passage in a moment. Let me start with Bless My Stars. I loathe it when people speak like this, but I do see an angle. If Bless My Stars had run on the Met, would she have won? She might have. You will never know. So I'd hate to speculate like that, because I believe you're taking the gloss off Double Superlatives win and maybe using See It Against Flat Run as your line for Bless My Stars. You will never ever know. And a lot of people believe that had she run, she might have won. So let's let sleeping dogs lie. But there is a school of thought out there that maybe had she travelled down, it might have been totally different. With that said, I'm just looking at the conditions of the race. 6 allowance of 2.5 kilos for fillies and mares. She's gone very, very well with boys before. She's not intimidated by the big boys. Even though Safe Passage is a grade 1 winner, Bing was a 2-time Charity Mile winner, Litigation's a multiple feature race winner. They're not, Bless My Stars has beaten better horses than this in the past. Good to have Team Valor's colours back in the game. As you say, reunited with their best mate, Atandiwe and Goodra. Everything points to number 2, Bless My Stars. But number 4, Safe Passage, a big chance. I was at Turffontein when he ran his last race behind Udenzen. It was clearly over a distance short of his best. It was clearly a warm-up for races to come. This is obviously not his cup final either, but go watch that race closely. He had no right to finish 8.25 lengths behind Udenzen the way that race was run and where he came from. He was given the coldest of cold rides from a deep draw. He caught my eye late, number 4, Safe Passage. And although I think Bless My Stars will have his number here, I saw enough last time from Safe Passage to make a case that he's got another feature race somewhere in the tank.
2 and 4, the numbers to play around in race number 7, but Bless My Stars, definitely the top choice. Race number 8, 2,400 meters, the distance, a middle stakes 10 at 4:15, I should say. And Indian Ocean is the favorite at 5-2, 33-10 about Burnett, 4-1 Drill Book. Battleground at 5-1, it's then 11-2 and Better Bar. Those now, Indian Ocean, she returned off a very lengthy layoff last time out, and she won in an absolute canter, winning by 5.5 lengths. She's gone up 8 points for that victory, but she could still be well ahead of the handicap, Alistair.
She could be. it's going to be a big test for her now. You know that she's a half-sister, funny enough, to Out of Your League, who runs in the race as well, and therefore related to Zeus. And as we know, Zeus is unstoppable over this distance. So she certainly genetically got it to be formidable. And as you say, potentially above the handicap. Every cloud ran no sort of race during the week at Hollywoodbets Greyville, but I think the Voices horses are coming to hand. I know Baron will get the hang of things very, very quickly down at KZN. It's a matter of time before he starts having winners. This race is tricky, Raheel. There are lots of chances. Indian Ocean being one of them. Bonetta another one, clearly, because she stepped up in distance last time and acquitted herself very nicely. She's got the benefit of a good draw, and now she's proven herself at this type of trip to be dangerous. I think number 620 Drachmas, totally different horse since going over the mile and a half. So with Peter Sunday Paulie on board, he's not one to totally rule out. So I'm happy to narrow this race down to those three horses. Number 2 Bonetta is my top choice over number 8 Indian Ocean. I'm going with the girls over the boys.
2 and 8, the top two in race number 8. Moving along to race number 9, the penultimate race on the day, 2,400 meters the distance. It's an MR70 handicap that gets underway at 16.50. Favorite in this contest is Monsieur Cheval at 7-2. Mount Etna is at 9-2, along with Nuclear Force. 5-1 Royal Mazarin. It's in 6-1 and better bar those. Now, Monsieur Cheval, obviously we learn more about the form of his last start in the previous race. If 20 drachmas happens to win, well then he's guaranteed to shorten in the market, and even the likes of Nuclear Force will come into the race, given that he'll get closer to the action, strictly at the weight with number 5, Monsieur Cheval. But how do you see race 9 unfolding?
Raheel, I like Monsieur Cheval a lot, but if you like Monsieur Cheval on the 30th of November, Indian War Dance has claims as well, so I'm prepared to narrow it down to those two. Indian War Dance, despite his last 2 runs being flat and having no show, and he can be a moody horse. He's been on my radar before, number 9 Indian War Dance, and to be quite honest, he's back on. Even though he's got no relief from the handicapper, I still think that if you just use that one run that came on Betway Summer Cup Day, he's got a bit of a say here. But all in all, number 5, Monsieur Cheval, if he wasn't drawn 11, I would make him a 9 out of 10 bet. The fact that he's drawn 11, he's a 7.5 out of 10 bet. I think he's going to be a hard nut to crack. His last start, I thought he had every chance to go past 20 drachmas. 20 drachmas stuck to his task. You're right, if he run, I don't think 20 drachmas is a good thing a race earlier, but I think he's got a chance if he runs a nice race, and that'll enhance the chances of number 5, Monsieur Cheval. So I think this is a bit of a wait and see, to be honest. I'm happy to go with just 2 horses in my play. I know Indian War Dance is at a price, but I think the bet here could be nice swingers to take numbers 5 and 9.
Well, we'll take your confidence with number 5, Monsieur Cheval, and we'll definitely include number 9, Indian War Dance. I know you missed the boat 3 starts back, but you're hoping to get a bit of cash back here at around 20-1 in the market with the son of the Patchy in race number 9. Race number 10, an MR75 handicap over 1,160 meters. Max Diotta is your favorite at 7-2. 4-1 Duke of Rock. It's 11-2 about Whirly Whirly. 7-1 Twice a Storm. 8-1 and better bar those. Scratch number 14 twice as well. Field of 14 runners remain. Now Max Diotta, I thought he'd run a big race last week, and he did just that, running second behind Fully Loaded, and possibly 70 meters less, or maybe even 50 meters less, he wins the race. But he was beaten half a length. He's only gone up a point for that victory in what was quite a competitive contest, and I think he'll hold his own. The only concern for me is that draw of gate number 3.
Yeah, that is a bit of a worry, Raheel. James Crawford doesn't worry about draws. Everything works up a storm and everything's a good thing, so so he doesn't look at things like that. Max Diotta back to the scene of his course and distance win on local debut. Easy to have him. He's easy to like. He is my top choice despite the inside draw. I was worried about his penultimate start over 1,200 meters on the inside track. For me, that run wasn't good enough to win. However, last time out behind Fully Loaded, he showed that he's back on track. I don't think he's been the easiest horse to get right. I think Candice Bass Robinson had a few sleepless nights with this horse back in Cape Town, and in that she probably was tearing out her hair, not knowing what this horse really needed, because there was a bit of ability there that she just that was not there to unlock, but maybe now in Joburg, back over the same course and distance, you can expect a bit more. But there are lots of chances here. Number 1, Whirly is such a likeable fan favourite. Sianda Sasibo takes it around, also got an inside draw, the blinkers come off, so he's got the same equipment that he wore when winning 2 races during winter. Khalida's got a chance. He was eye-catching last time out. He's got blinkers on, so if he travels close to the pace and can find that same finish, he could be dangerous. Twice the storms in there. I like a bit of Duke of Rock here, Raheel. I think this is the value in the race. First run for Fabian Habib. Dennis Schwarz takes around on a line through Max the Otter. He's got a chance of turning that form around from 35 days earlier. Nazaro's got a place chance. Circus Lights can do absolutely anything, but Max the Otter undoubtedly the horse to beat. So the 3 horses that I think punters need to play their bets around: 3 Max the Otter, 4 Khalida, and 8 Duke of Rock.
Horse number 4, Khalida, 20 to 1 in the market, could represent terrific value in the final race on the day, with James Kobede de Halbo, who's riding with a lot of confidence at the moment, and that 13 draw certainly could well be an advantage up the lane at Turffontein. Moving along to the suggested bet now, and Alistair will take us through his suggested bets. And Alistair, take it away with the bet for Saturday out at the Big T.
Bar pot that gets underway at 20 to 1. So I've loaded up. It's not a cheap bar pot, but I think it's going to pay. 1, 5, 7, and 8. So across the pond, It's Her Way, Kindred Hearts, and Marlowe's Millionaire. By 1, 3, and 9, Donny, There's a Light, and Montebello. By 1 and 7, I'm obviously happy with those 2. Also Springer and Lady Lennox with strong fancy for the second favourite. By 1, 2, and 7, Biofarmer, Red Bomber, and Mia Moo. 6th race, hardest race on the day for me. Most interesting race as well. 3 Eiffel Tower, 6 Yukon Hurry Love, and 9 Presley. And then final leg, 2 Bless My Stars, and 4 Safe Passage.
That is Alistair's bar pot, which will commence with the running of race number 2, as it is a 10-race program. Alistair, thanks very much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy racing over on Saturday, because we've got a doubleheader.
Yeah, thanks, Raheel. Well, I'll certainly be tuned into both. I'll be down in the Cape at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth and keeping an eye on everything at Turffontein as well. But yeah, looking forward to this time next week when all eyes will be on the Cape Derby.
Well, 18 races on Saturday for the punters to enjoy, and hopefully they can make themselves a bit of cash. All the best with that racing out at Turffontein on Saturday, and alongside that, Hollywoodbets Kenilworth.